I bet some of you are probably wondering, what's an attorney got to say about real estate technology, real estate innovation, and the future of our industry? Well, I'm here to focus on your intellectual property that is becoming among your most valuable assets, along with your brokers and your other assets. In particular, for brokers and MLSs, your client histories, your listing compilations, your photos, your videos, your forms, your agreements. All of these things are valuable intellectual property assets. For service providers and vendors, a lot of you are now technology companies. You're providing your services through software applications, through websites, through electronically stored information, electronically transmitted information, through data aggregation. In short, real estate intellectual property is all over the industry. And I can tell you that real estate intellectual property is only going to get more valuable, more innovative, more complicated, and more sophisticated. Indeed, do we in the real estate industry have something worth stealing? You better believe it. Data rustlers are everywhere. Data theft and real estate IP misuse is rampant, and it's only getting worse. Stolen data, scraped data is appearing everywhere on the internet, and data rustlers are simply growing by leaps and bounds. File sharing sites, new websites are all appearing on an almost daily or weekly basis, all containing your stolen intellectual property. Even worse, that intellectual property is then being taken to create derivative products that are being sold to hedge fund managers, to lenders, to other marketers and other end users, and they don't even know that that information has been taken. So let's turn to a disconnect in the industry. Last year, Clarity asked MLS executives, are you aware of a company or companies using your MLS data illegally or outside the bounds of the MLS rules? Well, 57% said, yeah, I'm aware. But astonishingly, 43% said they didn't even know. Here's disconnect number 2. In 2011, Clarity asked brokers, did they have an awareness of the data IP problem? And indeed, they said they did, and brokers told Clarity that over 80% of them expected that the MLS would be policing and protecting their intellectual property. So let's get this straight. 4 out of 5 brokers are expecting the MLS to be aggressively policing and protecting the data, while only about half said they were aware that that data was being taken. And we know that only a fraction are actually doing something proactively and trying to go out and protect and police data theft. So we know that these data thieves are becoming more brazen and more sophisticated. Let's take a non-real estate example. What is this? Anyone? It's a fake Apple store, right. This is a fake Apple store in Kunming, China. Looks pretty great, doesn't it? We saw a picture of the Apple store in front of 767 Fifth Avenue. They got the glass, modern furniture, great merchandising, even got the silhouette ads in the background. Pretty amazing copy, right? Well, look a little closer. And I'll get to the harm, because it's not just misspellings that are causing harm, but I'll get to the harm that's affecting all of you. Let's turn to the real estate industry. This is a valuation manager at RedBell. We've protected the innocent. But on his LinkedIn page, he said that RedBell operates a nationwide MLS. There's a nationwide MLS? Really? I wasn't aware of that. And how did RedBell get that data? By signing VOW agreements with MLSs and then aggregating that data and misusing that data. So they took that data out the front door. Let's take another example. Our friends at Neighbor City. Well, we're pretty sure that Neighbor City has scraped and used other technological means to get data. Now, Neighbor City is actually a defendant in 3 lawsuits across the country. They're individual lawsuits. They're brought by one plaintiff against Neighbor City. 2 brought by MLSs, 1 brought by a brokerage firm. The two MLS cases, one is in Minnesota, brought by North Star, and the other is in Maryland, brought by MRIS. Now, even though they're a defendant in a lawsuit, Neighbor City has been incredibly successful in keeping data and keeping that data up on the web. So who knows what Neighbor City's coverage is across the country? That's right. They have data all across the country. And lest you be concerned that you can't shop on Neighbor City for a place in Hawaii or Alaska, they got that too. So you may be asking yourself, well, what's the harm? You know what? Neighbor City is showing my listings. And you know, the more exposure, the better. There are some people who say that the more exposure you get for a listing, all the better. Well, data piracy and data theft causes three major harms that the courts have all recognized. One, causes consumer confusion. Two, it causes money to get taken out of your pockets directly. And three, it tarnishes the industry reputation. Let's go back to that Apple Store example. Someone buys a fake iPad, 3 months later it breaks. Do you think that hurts Apple's good name? You better believe it. Well, guess what? The harm is no different in the real estate industry. There are errors on a page, and guess who gets blamed? It's not Neighbor City. It's the MLSs and the brokerage firms that are getting blamed. Indeed, on Neighbor City, it actually says, listing courtesy of Coldwell Banker. Listing courtesy of Prudential Douglas Elliman. And let me tell you, Neighbor City has lots and lots of listings. In Chicago, they say that they can show over 19,000 listings. I was on the website last night. In New York, where I'm counsel to the listing service for the revenue listing service, 12,500 listings. Here in Las Vegas, 8,500 listings. 3 major markets, 41,000 listings you can search on Neighbor City. Pretty big number. So now let's say that the 2 MLS cases finish. Best case scenario. Minnesota case, they win. Maryland case, they win. How's this going to affect Neighbor City? That's it. That's it. Not a big change, not a material change. And you know what? Neighbor City knows this. And data thieves know this. And what the data thieves are hoping is that, one, you're going to have to bring lots and lots of individual lawsuits, which are costly, which are inefficient, and where the same issues get litigated over and over again. And the bigger issue is, it doesn't stop the more generalized harm. One lawsuit doesn't change, one individual lawsuit doesn't change the map all that much. And that's what Neighbor City is hoping for, because they also know that a lot of MLSs may not even do anything. So what do we need to do? We as an industry need to come up with a better solution. We need to come up with something innovative and new that we can build for the future and build a foundation that will leave our industry in a better state. And I put forth REDPLAN. It's time to posse up. We're out west. It's time to posse up. REDPLAN means the Real Estate Data Protection Legal Association Not-for-Profit. This is a nonprofit. We're not looking to monetize anything here. Okay? And Clarity, in last year's survey, asked MLS executives, would you be interested in an association that was specifically geared towards protecting your intellectual property rights and also geared towards promoting and protecting IP going forward? Over 91% said, yeah, we want in. We want in. We propose REDPLAN, and we propose that REDPLAN will be the preeminent organization that will protect and promote intellectual property rights for the real estate industry. That will be its core mission. In addition, we think it can do other things. One, it can serve as an incubator for ideas and policies and best practices with respect to new and innovative intellectual property rights. In addition, we think that it can be an advocacy group that can advocate on behalf of the real estate industry's intellectual property rights, like the Record Industry Association of America or the Business Software Alliance, but specifically geared towards protecting your intellectual property. In addition, we think it can have a salutary effect towards litigation strategy. It can help be a litigation clearinghouse for the country and for you and for all different levels of the industry. In addition, because it'll be an association that is specifically geared towards protecting and promoting intellectual property rights, it can provide association standing and allow for the possibility of class actions so we can avoid the individual lawsuit problem and bring some wholesale justice to the real estate industry. And last, we think it can act as a deterrent. It may not eliminate all data theft, but if data thieves know that there's an organization like the Record Industry Association of America or like the Business Software Alliance that's specifically out there to protect your intellectual property rights, they may think twice. If there's an organization that's out there where you can actually say, hey, someone's stealing my data, and they can get out an advisory over the internet to all other interested parties, that may cause people to think twice. So please, I urge you to go on redplan.org and learn more about REDPLAN, and myself and Matt Cohen and Greg Larson are here to answer any of your questions, but please go to redplan.org. Thank you very much.